figure it out. Friday, either 15th, I'm pretty sure. Friday, whatever third that is. Whatever, yes. Oh, okay. That's the only day she could do it, and it's okay. Yeah. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Unity of Syracuse. Today is supposed to be a record day, a beautiful day. Everything's changing, isn't it? All the leaves are changing. The earth is changing. You can feel it in the air. And we're so excited to be here with y'all today. We're so excited to hear what Patsy has to tell us. And I'd like to hear what you have to tell us today. So if you would stand up with us, and if you feel so inclined, put your hands together. The first song is The Power of One. What if it all depended on me to change the world, to change the world? What if my only responsibility was to change the world, to change the world? Let me be the one to start a revolution. Let me sing my song to the people of the world. It all begins with one, the power of one. Joining the hundreds of millions of people believing in one, the power of one. Don't hang around, stand up or sit down. Just believe we can change the world. How? Together, we can change the world. Together, oh yeah. What kind of love can conquer disease and change the world, and change the world? What can I do to make poverty history and change the world, and change the world? Let me be the one, come on, to start it, to start a revolution. Let me sing my song. We're singing it to the people of the world, to the children of the world. It all begins with what? One. The power of you, joining the hundreds of millions of people believing in one. Yeah, the power of one. Don't hang around, stand up or sit down. Just believe we can change the world. Together we can. We can change the world. Together it all begins with one. The power of one. Joining with hundreds of millions of people believing in one, the power of one. Come on, don't stand up. Don't hang around, stand up or sit down. Just believe we can change the world. How? Together, we can change the world. Let me hear ya. Together, we can change the world. Together, it all begins with one. It all begins with me. It all begins with who? You. It all begins with us. It all begins with one.
To Unity of Syracuse, I am Leland Jackson, and I will be your platform assistant today. And just what a great opening with our celebration team. Thank you for all the work that you do and put into it. We do have live streaming back again. And if you want to watch something afterwards, go to YouTube and look up Unity Syracuse, not Unity of Syracuse, because that's where then they are held on the YouTube site. Or if you want just the audio, most of those are just on our website if you want to listen to just the talk. So, and we do have the closed circuit downstairs for those who are helping out and aren't able to come up. So let us begin now with the reading of our daily word. Today's word is generosity. Divine love through me multiplies all that I give and receive. We say that, don't we, regularly? A classic Unity hymn declares, love is something, if you give it away, you will end up having more. While it is true that freely sharing my time, talent, and treasure attracts good into my life, I am inspired to give for the sheer joy of giving. Recognizing my oneness with all the people in God, I know every thought, word, helping hand, or financial gift I offer blesses me as much as it blesses the one who receives it. Because I know that both giving and receiving are essential to the flow of abundance, I accept with gratitude and love the gifts and blessings that come to me through the loving generosity of others. I count each day as another opportunity for me to give in return. And from 1 Timothy 6, verse 18, they are to do good, to be rich in good works, generous, and ready to share. So in reading this initially with that first statement, we have our offering blessing that is parts of this. We have added more to it. But it is so true that it is a flowing circle, that as we give, so we receive. And this so resonated with me today because it talks all about the service. And that is so much for me of how I give and then what I really receive back from all of you. You are really a blessing to me personally, so thank you. So normally we would have our children here, but we've now have them staying downstairs and starting there. We may have just a few today, but we also know and hold our 4 that are finishing rally at this point down in Maryland on the eastern Chesapeake side at a lovely Camp Takakwa. I can't say that now, I don't remember it. But it is a lovely YMCA camp where they are having this fall rally, and they will be traveling home then this afternoon. Ken and Natalie, Todrick, and Thomas, thank you. Yeah. So they will be, I'm sure, bouncing high next week. And as we get ready to greet one another, know that it is a sacred greeting that we ask you kind of stay where you're at, give a handshake, a nod, and save all the time for milling around and conversing to after the service downstairs. So if you'll stand now, we'll do our greeting and then go into our statement of being. So just acknowledging, thank you. So our statement of being, it's on the screen. God is all, both visible and invisible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. I am an individualized expression of God. I am ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance.
So if you would all have a seat, this is going to be a call and response song. I know that kind of helps you a little bit if we sing first and then follow us. But really what it's all about is readying yourself for the here and the now, and whatever it is that you have feel so inclined, the words will be up there. But just let this kind of be your preparation time, your prep time to get ready for the remainder of the service.
I close my eyes.
I close my eyes.
I open my heart.
I open my heart.
I take a deep breath.
I take a deep breath.
Let the healing start.
Let the healing start.
I lift my hands.
I lift my hands.
I plant my feet.
I plant my feet.
I let love in.
I let love in.
I feel the beat.
I feel the beat that's calling, calling, calling us to rise. Rise, Spirit, rise up, rise in me. Ready my soul, I ready my soul.
I clear my mind.
I clear my mind.
I'm here and now.
I'm here and now.
In present time.
In present time.
I feel the power.
I feel the power
of 1,000 suns.
of 1,000 suns lighting up the dark. Oh, we rise as one. Oh, rise. Rise. Spirit, rise up. Rise in me. Oh, rise. Rise. Spirit, rise up. Rise in me.
I sing one song.
I sing to you.
You sing to me.
You sing to me.
Change up this noise
and make sweet harmony. Come on and rise. Let your spirit rise. Rise. Spirit, rise up. Rise in me. Oh, rise. Rise. Spirit, rise up. Rise in me. Heart to heart, heart to heart,
hand in hand.
hand in hand. No turning back, no turning back to the promised land, to the promised land.
Lighting up the dark.
Do you feel the power
Of 1,000 suns.
of 1,000 suns lighting up the dark? Oh, we rise as one. Oh, rise, rise, Spirit, rise up, rise in me. Oh, rise, rise, Spirit, rise up, rise in me. Rise up, rise up, rise up, rise on and rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, rise, rise in me.
All right, wow. So now it is time for some announcements. Many of the things are listed there in your bulletin. Please look through all of that. But a couple of things really to highlight. Next Sunday, we are so blessed to have John Mundy speaking with us. And after the service, he will be doing a workshop from about 1:15 to 4:15 titled A Course in Mysticism and Miracles. Please register at the bookstore ahead of time. It's a little lower fee if you do register ahead of time, or if you want to, you can also register online. So we do have some flyers as well out and around as well for John's time. And then mark your calendars for November 15th. It's a Friday evening, 6:30. Reverend Pat Bessie will be here as she helps us with our moving forward with a workshop titled Releasing and Reclaiming our vision moving forward. So it's a time that's, as we're transitioning now between ministers and our own selves and things, it's a chance for us to really come to peace and see what is there. And Reverend Pat knows our congregation well. She and her husband have been affiliated with us for 15 years-ish, off and on, I want to say. So it's just a blessing to have her lead us through this. There is a town hall meeting today right after the service. I believe food is also in the works downstairs, Miss Sibby. Not yet. I'm getting there. You weren't here to start. It's on my list. And gee, what's next on my list? Day of the Dead. Remembrance and fundraising party. So Patty Schatzel's not able to be here today, but it's going to be Saturday, November 2nd, which is actually the true celebration day for Day of the Dead. And it's a time of remembering the folks in our family that have passed on, those who've already gone, and honoring them away. Important to sign up because we need to know how much of the materials and things need to be purchased and gotten ready for that day. Last Sunday, we had a brainstorming event session. There was about 15 people that attended that. It was an absolute success. And if you look on Constant Contact, the top 5 types of events and things are listed there in the Constant Contact. We'll talk more about it at the town hall. There'll be some other posters and things going up. But it was just a really good jump start for a whole variety of events that will be coming out for us. I do believe we want to have the brief search team report. Do you want to come up, Barb? I put you on the spot, sorry. We had a search team meeting this last week, and Barb put together a prayer for us. You have a copy in your hand? Good. So there are copies of this prayer at the back of the church, so you can feel free to take one and hold this prayer intention with you. With it. But Barbara, you want to read it, please?
Can I just do a little testimony first?
Sure.
Last week when Mark spoke so eloquently about acceptance, and then after he talked about, how as a community we should be, open and not let our, everybody has a desire for what they want in a new minister. And we have to approach it as a community and realize that, this person's going to be perfect for the community. It might not be perfect just for one person, but for a community. And so it was funny because we met, and after his service, I thought to myself, I have a practice of meditating and praying every morning. And that Saturday before his service, I was praying for all the things that I pray for, and then I got an urge I have to pray for this meeting. I have to pray for, the process of getting a minister. And so I sat down and prayed, and then I go, that was a good prayer. I'm going to write that down. So I wrote it down, and I brought it to the meeting, and it was so funny because he said, I was thinking that we need a prayer to start our meetings with. So talk about connection. So anyways, here's our prayer. So if everybody could just close their eyes. We gather together in peace, love, and light for the sole purpose of finding a new minister. And as we take a deep cleansing breath, we let go of all the stresses and worries of the day. We allow ourselves to open our hearts and minds to the divine source within. We set our intentions to be mindful and aware of the wisdom and guidance that flows freely to us as we take on this sacred task of finding the perfect minister for our unity community. We affirm that we are able to discern with spirit guidance who is the individual willing and able to fulfill the needs of this church community. Now let us take a moment to sit in silence, holding to our hearts and minds a vision of what characteristics and values the perfect minister for this community would encompass. We let go of our individual ego-centered desires and manifest a collective vision. Thank you, God. We are so grateful for the opportunity to be of service to the community. We accept that all things happen in divine order, and so it is. Amen.
So there are copies, as I said, on the back table. Please feel free to take one and hold that intention and things for us as we move forward these next few months. All right. I'd like now to welcome our guests. Is there anyone who may be visiting us for the very first time? We want to welcome you with a packet of a candle. I don't know if we have any new guests. Doesn't look like it. So we are all just our wonderful family and records. So please, we'll all meet downstairs afterwards and have a chance to visit and talk and do all the things that we do when we eat. We don't eat around here, so no. It's a place where I've often will say you starve at your own risk. All right, so let's have our 5 basic principles up on the screen. These 5 basic principles of unity really guide us. And so we use these in our daily lives, and we see them show up in funny different ways. And now's the time, if a couple of you want to share how one of these or more of these principles have shown up in your life this past week, we'd like to have you share. Maria? Kathy down here. Maria. Hold on for your mic.
I share a lot. I'm sorry. I don't mean to hog up the time, but I seem to find that the basic principles work for me all the time. So yesterday I'm sitting in front of a cafe down the road, and they haven't opened yet, and it's cold because it was our first frost night. And all of a sudden I get this tap on my car window, and I look up, and there's this young woman, and I couldn't determine what age she was, but she's asking me when they open, and she's dirty, and she's ragged, and she doesn't look very clean. And I'm thinking, okay, do I let her in my car? Do I not let her in my car? Do I lower the window? Do I not lower the window? Am I taking a risk? All of those cautionary things that we learn as we grow up about being careful to guard ourselves against danger. And I thought, you know what? It's cold. If she kills me, she kills me. What can I tell you? I open the door. She sits down. We have a wonderful conversation. She's telling me about her cat, whatever. We go into to the Cafe Broadway. We treat her to coffee. Again, she just seems like a really lovely young woman, but obviously drug addicted. Her face, you could see it on her face. So we got her the coffee, and then this morning, as I'm driving here, I see her, and I say, "Hi, Allie," and she just looks up and says, "Hi, Maria," and she runs across the street to come and give me a hug, and I have 2 muffins for her and $2. And I took the liberty of saying, if you're around Unity, you could come a little later and have something to eat with us. So she said, no, I have a really busy schedule today, but she also informed me yesterday that within 1 hour she was going to go take a shower because she lives in a trailer with her boyfriend. And I just thought, you know what, I am so glad I took that risk. I'm so glad I met this young lady because she set my day knowing that I don't have to prejudge anybody. I didn't have to think she's dirty, she's whatever. I just wanted to keep her warm and give her some coffee, and it made my heart soar. So I just wanted to share that with you, that sometimes you have to take that risk and take that leap of faith because what you get out of it is a whole lot more than you anticipate.
Is there anyone else who wants to share at this time? All right, thank you. So we move on to our regular prayer portion of the service, even though we've had just an amazing prayer from Barb. Thank you. So with Unity being founded on prayer, we have a prayer chaplain program here so that the prayer chaplains are available before service from 10:45 to 10:55, upstairs and downstairs. And they're also available to pray with you after the service. So please bring prayers of gratitude, prayers of intentions, just in any way that we can pray and support you. And I'll have our prayer box brought forward at this time. With Unity being founded on prayer, it's Silent Unity. They have been praying continuously for 130 years now. Amazing time frame. And with that, our intentions, put them in the box, put them in the offering basket, hold them in your heart. We do take the intentions and blessingly love them, hold them here for 30 days. We don't actually look at them, but we just give them the energy and the love. And then they're forwarded on to Silent Unity, where, again, for another 30 days, they are held in this same high intention.
So we take a moment to honor the intentions that have been placed in this box and within each heart. And we know that the infinite indwelling intelligence, unlimited imagination of God is already at work bringing the answer to these prayers. We know that that abundance and source of all good is working in and through each and every life and each and every intention placed here today. We affirm it, we let it go, and we let God. And we say amen.
We are now at the meditative portion of our service. So I invite all of you to take a deep breath and to close your eyes and to feel the sacredness of this room, of your surroundings, of all that is. For this sacredness is our greatest truth. Take a deep breath in. Hold that breath and then let it all go. Along with all the concerns of the day, the worries that might be bothering you, the stuff on your mind. For all is one. And in the oneness, there is no stuff. There is only sacred spirit, only love, only grace. Allow your breath to move your awareness to your heart center. For it is in this center of heart that you know these truths. You know them and you feel them. Rest here with your awareness in your heart. Rest here. For all that is love, all that is life, all that is oneness is here in your heart as your heart joins every heart around the world. Rest in silence. Slowly begin again to watch your breath, to take those deep and healing breaths, moving from your heart center throughout your whole being, knowing our oneness, knowing our love, knowing and expressing our truth. And so it is. And so I invite you to open your eyes and see that truth.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when it seems I've lost my way, when I go inside and quiet my mind, I can hear Spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only peace. There is only peace. Peace that heals, peace that sets us free. There is only peace.
There is only love.
There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love.
Well, thank you. I was going to carry that. I would like to thank our celebration team for essentially giving my lesson. And I think that I need to go down and get my reading glasses because I'm having some trouble with looking at my notes. But that's okay. There is only love. Now, we are at this point in time doing our services on our core values. So if I could, these are our core values. We are inspiring, we are accepting or inclusive, we are expressing truth, we are forgiving, we are progressive, we are loving, we are compassionate. And I'm going to talk today about the fact that we are expressing truth. We see it all around us. We heard it in the beautiful music of the celebration team. Thank you so much. You essentially, as I said, delivered my lesson for me. So I'm deeply grateful to you. So, anyway, this is weird. I don't think I've ever given a lesson with reading glasses before, but you know, one of our human truisms, it's not our truth, but it's a truism, is that as we age, we sometimes need a little bit of help. So anyway, that's beside the point. My name is Patsy Scala, and it's good to be here with you today, talking to you about expressing truth. So, what is our deepest truth? Because if we're going to express truth, we have to express it at the deepest possible level, right? Otherwise, we're just dealing with trivialities. Our deepest truth is this: we are expressions of God. And as our statement of belief said, God is all, both visible and invisible. And we are one with this divine being. Now, we don't all call it God. Sometimes we call it the universe, sometimes we call it infinite spirit, sometimes we call it whatever. I'm going to use the term God because it's accepted and it's short and it's easy to use. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And it's when we express this spirit that we're expressing truth. As Reverend Eugene Holden said, we are spiritual beings having spiritual experiences on a spiritual planet. Religious science minister David Goldberg wrote that nothing is outside of the one that is God. Now, I believe we come to earth knowing this. I really do believe this. I think that our souls are birthed onto this earth knowing exactly who we are. As it was expressed in our service today, if we're asked to describe ourselves, we can do it in 2 words: I am. I think our souls know this when we come to earth. There's a story about a little boy whose mother has another child. He has a baby brother. And he keeps wanting to go back into the baby brother's room. And the parents are a little bit afraid that he's going to hurt the baby brother because he's used to being the only one in the family. So he goes back, he sneaks back into his brother's bedroom. And the mother goes and watches him. And he says to his little brother, "Tell me about God because I'm starting to forget." This is a story, yes, but stories often contain great truth. We came here knowing that we're part of this greater oneness. And then we're herded into tribal truths. We're herded by our families. We're herded into ways of being, ways of believing. We become Catholic, Protestant. We become whatever it is our tribe is, whatever our parents are. And we move away from this infinite truth that we were born with. And we stop expressing this truth because we're expressing partiality, okay? So long as we are identifying as anything other than the one, we're being partial. So this one truth that we need to express through love, through peace, is that on the spiritual level, we're all one. Now, on the physical level, we are separated, but, then again, so are aspen trees. You think of aspen trees. They look like there are many trees, but underneath at their root, they're all sharing one root. With us, our root is up here, and we're sharing all this, even though we are individuated in separate bodies. So, at the same time we're schooled to be whatever our family was, we're also schooled to believe that the messages that we receive inside of us are somehow less than the words that are spoken in the Bible or the Quran or in Buddhist spirituality or from the pulpit or the platform. We forget that we once knew this truth. We once knew this oneness, and that separation is only an appearance. It's a physicality. We are always, eternally, everything. An eternal soul embodied in a temporal body. When we relearn this in a church like Unity, and there are other churches in here in Syracuse that express this, but when we learn it in a church like Unity, we know truth. And when we know something, we start to express it. Now, any of you who are Facebook friends of mine know that I quote Mark Nepo a lot, so I want to read a quote from him. He writes this: "The center I once glimpsed is all around me, a landscape I now live in." Think about that. Late Unity minister Eric Butterworth wrote once that we are the center of God in the place where we are. And here's the thing, so are you, so are you, so are you, so are you, so is everybody, and everything is the center of God in the place where it is. At our deepest level, we are each a little bit of everything. In the old song, we are stardust, we are golden, and we have to get ourselves back to the garden. I should have suggested you sing that. But anyway, we are. And that garden is that garden of expressing our truth, knowing and expressing our truth. We are the center of everything in the place where we are. If there's peace within us, there's peace in the world. If there's violence within us, there's violence in the world. So there's an old question, how then shall I live? I'm going to change this a little. Knowing this, how then can I express this truth? How can I express this ultimate truth? It's a vital question, especially since everything we experience all around us that appears to be not us is really also a center of this divinity that we are a center of. All this speaks passionately and a little bit esoterically to what is our most important truth. Maybe the only real truth that there is. We are all one in essence. We are not separated. We are not isolated. On the human level, we may feel alone. At our deepest essence, we're all one. Alone, all one. Contrary to physical appearances, at the spiritual level, there is no other. If we perceive a center that seems other, we need to understand that we are part of this other center as what surrounds it. Just like everything that is not us is part of us in surrounding us. Okay. Now, are you confused yet? No, I mean, seriously, this can be confusing. You have to feel it. You have to let it sink into your essence. You can't get it up here. Because up here, we're trying to say, well, wait a minute, what is she, nuts? You know, what is she trying to say to us here? What, that I'm Sally? Well, no, I can't sing. I'm not Sally. But I am. In a very real way. Okay. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, in his beautiful play, The Little Prince, said, "It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye," which is why my meditation took you to your heart chakra, so that you could feel that union, you could feel that oneness. How many of you could feel the oneness when you did that meditation? Show of hands? Good. I'm glad. Are there moments when you're walking through nature, when you're just sitting and letting the wind blow through your hair, when you're just feeling the warmth of the sun, that you may not think about this infinite truth that you're expressing, but you're feeling it? And we express through our feelings. What we say is not nearly as important as what we are. And we are infinite love. We are infinite peace. So what if we don't know this? What if we don't know the truth? Can we express truth if we don't know truth? And the answer is probably no. Probably, if we've forgotten our origins, we begin to think back, and some of us remember maybe a part of our soul journey, but we equate this divinity with our personality. I'm personally not an infinite expression of truth. It's my spirit that is an infinite expression of truth. My personality is sometimes really snarky, as those of you who know me know. You know, I mean, I can be as snarky as the next person. But on this infinite level of truth, when I'm expressing this, as Maria expressed her truth when she trusted and embraced this other part of her, known as the girl who sat in her car, we are expressing from this deepest part of ourselves our deepest truth. Some of us who believe that our oneness is strictly through our personality, if we become leaders, we wind up either in a mental institution or we wind up being politicians, not expressing truth. I'm sorry, I had to get that in. On the other hand, if we believe that only the smallness of our personality is who we are, We go about regretting the past, worrying about the future, thinking about all that we have to do, counting calories, and, like this is not who we are. So, here's a question. When we know who we are, we can express truth, but how do we find this truth if we don't have a church like this? If we don't have discussion groups like the discussion groups we had at 10 o'clock, if we don't have classes like the class that Leland is teaching on Wednesday night, how do we express a truth if we don't know the truth? Okay. Sometimes we learn this truth with this sudden blast of knowing. This can be scary, to get a sudden just awareness, an awareness of who we really are. It can be scary. It can feel like we're either crazy or we're standing on holy ground. It happened to me maybe 30 years ago. I was sitting watching a body of water and watching the sunset over a body of water. And maybe it was even longer ago than 30 years ago, but I remember it to this day. And as the sun went down, all of a sudden I knew this mystical oneness with everything. I knew it. This knowing of truth can come to us in many ways. Now, the feeling that accompanied this was, like I said, somewhere like between crazy and holy ground. And I'm glad I wasn't driving my car looking at the sunset, because I don't know what would have happened if I were driving my car, but I was sitting in a chair, and so I was safe, and so was everybody else in the world safe. And that's what happened to Saul of Tarsus when he was riding down to defeat Christianity, and all of a sudden was struck with divinity, struck with this truth. And he ceased being Saul of Tarsus and he became St. Paul. And he is probably the absolute, although Jesus is the center of the Christian church, Paul is probably its developed the form that went around it. There are many, many, many ways to arrive at truth. And some of them aren't even true. Which leads to this question. Can there be truth without fact? Can something that isn't true lead us to the truth? Now, with me, that wasn't the case, because the sun setting over a body of water, this beautiful cathedral of earth, sea, and sky, as the Celtic people call it, this is divine. It is divinity. But deep truth can often be found in things that aren't factual. Prime example. How did Jesus teach? He taught in parables. He didn't teach truth through truth except in his beingness. In who he was, he taught truth. But when he tried to convince people who didn't, or not tried to just educate people who didn't really know what he was talking about, he spoke in parables. For example, when people were going to stone the prostitute, he said, let he who has not committed a sin throw the first stone. There were no stones thrown. That was a parable. Was there really a prostitute? Did Jesus really do that? I don't know. I wasn't there. It doesn't make any difference. It was a teaching of truth, a teaching of deep truth. It's the golden rule in another form. When we do unto others as we would have them do unto us, and when we know our truth, we know that there really isn't an other. So, all of Jesus' parables spoke great truth without the benefit of fact. So do song lyrics. You know I quote this one a lot, but I quote it a lot because it's good. It's a song written by, yes, Aaron Neville. And the song is called To Make Me Who I Am. And the lyrics go like this: it took me who I was and where I've been to make me who I am. Is there anybody here for whom that is not true? How about that silly song of maybe 20 years ago, Don't Worry, Be Happy? Okay? Somebody posted on Facebook once, worrying is praying for what you don't want. Think about it. It is. Our third principle, we create our life by what we think. Okay? When we're worrying, what are we thinking of? We're thinking of what we don't want. So if we cease to worry and we let happiness and joy engulf us, are we not then expressing a truth that is far deeper than this silly song? We are. Fairy tales also teach great truths. For example, Cinderella taught the truth that shoes are important. No. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Cinderella teaches us that if we do our work, what we're supposed to do, and we ignore and love those who are cruel to us, and we don't return that cruelty, we simply do what is ours to do, and we ignore the cruel stepsisters of the world and the cruel stepmothers of the world, we emerge to a higher level. Now, marrying the prince is not necessarily a higher level, but like I said, great truths can come in fairy tales. In fact, philosopher Johann Christian Friedrich von Schiller, that's quite a name, said this of fairy tales: deeper meaning resides in fairy tales told to me in my childhood than in any truth that is taught in life. We learn truth from nature. I did. I learned deep truth as I follow the seasons. When I sit in my backyard and in the summer I watch the hummingbirds, and the hummingbirds have gone now, and crows are coming. And yesterday, for the first time this year, I had deer at my bird feeders. For everything there is a season, and a time for every purpose under heaven. I learned this from nature. It's time for me to stop putting sugar water in the hummingbirds' feeders and put out bird seed for the winter birds that are coming. I learned this from nature. Dreams. Dionysus calls this transcendental understanding, where the intellect passes beyond any active knowledge and knows by not knowing in a matter of transcendental understanding. And I think that our dreams take us to places of transcendental understanding. My entire second book was written by being awakened by a voice in my head. I think it was in my head. I mean, there was not anybody else talking to me in the room, telling me what to write that day. And of course, being the dutiful writer that I am, I went right back to sleep. But in the morning, I remembered what I had heard or known through a transcendental understanding. And it expressed as a book. Is this book truth? Well, it's about the soul and the seasons, so I think it is. I think it is deep truth. We learn from great literature in Hamlet. Polonius gives advice to Laertes, this above all to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man. Well, yeah, this is true, because our truth is the I am. And if we're true to that self, and we know that everyone around us is part of that self, we are expressing truth. Truth is always everywhere, eternally everywhere in everything. Whether it's the Bible, nature, other people, whatever it is. So, back to my question. When we know the truth that we're part of a oneness that many call God, how do we express it? And this is where the dare came in. Truth or dare? Yeah, I know it's a game, but if I could have the dare slide. Okay. DARE is an acronym for me about expressing truth. The first word is do. This means take action. Don't just sit here and listen to what I'm saying and then go out and argue with your neighbor. Do what you can do to express the truth of who you are. Be love. Be kind to people. Be gentle. Be peace. Notice I didn't say be peaceful. Be peace in the place where you are. For if there is peace in one heart, there's peace in the world. So do. A. Leland talked about it a lot. We talked a lot about it when we talked about the 4 agreements last month. Awareness. Are we aware of who we are? That's the start. Are we aware that we are I am? That we are part of this great divinity? Are we aware of that? Are we really aware of this? Or do we just say it at church? And then we go home and we say, I wish I had her hair. Or, I wish I was a little bit skinnier. Or, I wish. Nonsense. Nonsense. You are the perfect center of all divinity living in the body that you inhabit, in the moment that you are, in the place where you are. Be aware of it. Carry this awareness through in every moment of your life, and you will be living and expressing truth. May I have an R? Regularly. It's really easy to irregularly express truth. And then somebody says something to us and we're like, I don't think so. You know, I'm not going to listen to that person. And we cross our hands across our chest and we say, no entry here, instead of opening our hearts on a regular basis. So when that person that you work with that you don't like comes up to you, understand that you are love, even in situations you don't like. You are love, even with people you don't like. You are peace in the middle of turmoil. You are grace to someone, somewhere, always. So regularly, let the expressing of truth, the truth of who you are, be your regular daily practice. Every day, not just on Sunday, not just on alternate Tuesdays, not just on those Saturdays when you have something fun to do at night and nothing to do in the daytime so you can just hang out. Every day, no matter what you're doing, be truth. Be love. Express that truth. Express the love you are in the place where you are, to the people you are with, and know that you are one with all that is good, all that's holy, and all that matters. You're one with it. And so my affirmation is, I dare to express my truth. Can you say it with me? I dare to express my truth. And let's put our hands over our hearts. And take that truth deeply within us. And say it one more time. I dare to express my truth. And so it is, and so we allow it to be. We allow it to be who we are. We allow it to be how we are. And we go out there into the world and we express this truth as love, as peace, as grace, as gratitude. Thank you. So now it is the time for our offerings, tithes and offerings. So if you would take your tithe or offering in your hand, and remember Leland was talking about how we say this every Sunday. We do. Join me in saying our blessing of our offerings. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. You are my source. Be the love you are. Be the love you are. Be the truth you are. Be the peace you are. We take these tithes and offerings in great love and great gratitude, blessing them all, endowing them with the power to change the world as it changes our ministry. We are so deeply grateful. We are so thankful. And so we say, may these tithes and offerings go to do greater good for the world as we express our truth. And so it is. Amen. Now, do we have our children, Jacob, do we have our children downstairs today at all? Okay, then let us welcome our children. Walking in the light of God, we are walking in the light of God. We are walking in the light of God. We are walking in the light of God. We are walking, we are walking, we are walking in the light of God. We are walking, we are walking, we are walking in the light of God. 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 We are walking, we are walking, we are walking in the light of God. We are walking, we are walking, we are walking in the light of God. Woo! So, what did you all do today while everybody else is at rally? Byron, you want to tell us? No, I said, what did you do today?
What did we do today? Well, we talked a little bit about Halloween. I brought in a book that has the facts about Halloween, and one of the facts I thought Vera might want to share with us. If it's okay with you, Vera.
Halloween's very old. It was around for 2,000 years.
Yep.
B3.
Oh, there we go. Is that better?
That's better.
Can't tell. Anyways, so after that, we made each made a mask, and even Crash brought my mask up too, which is kind of you, Crash. So yeah, we made masks in kind of honor of any relatives or any loved ones that have passed away to kind of celebrate them, and to kind of prepare us all also for the Day of the Dead, which is a Mexican holiday that's coming up. We're going to celebrate that on November the 2nd here at church. So we're starting to get ready for that too.
Well, we talked about expressing truth, and it's really interesting, Byron, because when we adults in everyday life often wear masks that cover up what our truth is. So when we take off the masks, then we're living our truth. So I mean, we were sort of working with, not tacitly, but we were sort of working with masks anyway today.
Very interesting.
So anyway, well, let's bless our children, both our children here and our children that are traveling. We bless our children wherever they are. We see them surrounded by love and light throughout the week. We have a thriving, expanded youth and family ministry. And now our prayer for protection, I really want you to think of these words, because if we're expressing truth, we are the light of God that surrounds us and fills us. So think of this prayer for protection as something that is deeper than just something that's up there, okay? The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us.
and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.